Meeple Talk!
Hello everyone, we're Meeple Talk. I'm Adam.
And I'm Stephanie, and this week we're doing Jórvík, another Stefan Feld game, released 2016. So this one's a little bit of a, well, as you can tell, it's a Viking-themed game. And we've got the town of Jórvík, Jórvík. It acts most like a trading post, and so we have these different tribes of Vikings that represented by our little player cards here. And we're pretty much just trying to compete for overall trading supremacy.
Yes, you want the most influence. Alias victory points to win the game.
Yes, exactly. So let's just jump right in. Let's have a look at this board.
Okay, so for the game of Jórvík, here's the board. You'll see it has a victory point track that starts at 10 here. These are all the different player counters. These are the interest tracks where all of the bidding cards will be laid out, or the cards that will be bid upon. There's this bottom section for the Carl version, and for the Jarl version, the entire board is being used. This is the deck of cards that you'll be drawing. This area is where excess cubes will go. This is like a common goods area. These are the different player boards. These are the clans that you're playing, or tribes. And they show different things that you can do with your goods. Here you can convert 3 goods to 1 good. You can convert 2 goods to a coin. You can store an extra good on your board. And I'll mention some of the cards that come up during the game. Here we have the trader, where you can trade a particular kind of good for coin. The artisan allows you to gain victory points if you can fill up those squares with the various goods that you need. The oracle card allows you to trade goods for victory points. This is the journey card. It's just straight victory points, comes into play for collection bonuses. The shipping card is the card where goods, that's how goods come into the game. You basically purchase the card and you'll get the goods that are on top of it. The Loki card is various different bonuses that are unique. The Feast card, the more you collect, the more points you get, the more of the same kind. The Scald card is again a collection bonus. In this case, if you have a journey card, you get 1 point and 1 for each. Finally, the picks will come into the game. There's 4 of them in each game throughout the deck. When the pick card comes out, whoever has the most warrior points, which you get from this card, will get the max victory points. The person who has the least will get the fewest. And finally, the building cards, again, have certain bonuses. This one, you get 1 extra coin on your turn, whenever your turn comes up. And then, I didn't mention, these are the coins themselves. They're all worth 1. The coins are not victory points and cannot be converted to victory points. At the end of the game, you would just count up all the victory points on the different cards and all the collection bonuses. So Steph will mention the gameplay.
Yeah, so the gameplay goes through 4 main phases. So the first of which is the supplies. So depending on how many players you have in your game, that will determine how many of the interest lanes are going to be open, that you're going to put they all share the same deck with the different seasons, different types of cards. If at any point the picked cards come up for a draw, you have to resolve that right away, that battle, and then the supply phase continues after that. Secondly, you've got the demand. And this is where every player, starting with the first player, whoever was indicated by the hammer meeple or token, they're going to go around and they're going to be placing their meeples depending on what cards they have interest in. And I'll describe it in the Carl version first. So we're going to go around, and you could double up or put them on single cards, however you like. So they're just going to keep going on round and round until you've used up all your available meeples. Why this is important, how you decide to place, is that wherever you place, if you're in front of the line, you are going to get the first chance to bid. So you're determining bidding order, but not only are you doing that, but the more people who are interested in a particular card, that's going to increase the cost for you. So your price as the leader of that line is going to be represented by the number of people in that line in total. You can elect to bid and pay that price, or you can then remove yourself, say, nope, don't want that one. Next person in line can have the turn or the chance to bid well and pay 1 less for that overall cost. Now, it's a little bit unique when you expand to the Jarl version. This one also has a sort of demand order, but what happens, it's a little bit different. When you place your meeple on a particular card, it automatically reserves up here. You have now guaranteed your opportunity to buy that card because no one else can bid on that. So you've secured it for yourself. But as more people bid on following cards, the more people who have created their guaranteed card bid here, it's going to increase the cost for you. So the more people who do that, it's going to then affect your overall price. So your combination here and here, you have to choose wisely then, because you only have a certain amount of coins and you've got to spread them out based on what you can afford in the turn order. So there might be some cards that you just either do not want right off the bat or wanted but can no longer afford. And if that's the case, well, that card is going to be exhausted for the rest of the game. No one gets that. So that is the bidding phase. While the purchasing phase, that's phase 3. Of course, you have to buy whatever cards you've bid on if you choose to get them. And then some of the cards, like these ones, this comes up for part 4, which is the loading phase. Any cards that have goods on them, let's pretend that we had some on here, you will collect your particular card with the goods. Any cards that you have, artisan cards or other, that need a matching color, you're then going to fill. If you can fill all the cards or all the goods that your card requires, you're going to secure the amount of victory points it says at the bottom here. If you can't do that, you lose out on those particular victory points. When it comes to storage, this is also part of the end of the turn. Storage, everyone on their particular player board has the capacity to store 1. You may have extra cards that may give you extra storage capacity. If you can't use them, you can try to convert them for other goods and coin. If not, they will be exhausted and go back to the common goods pile. After that point, this whole entire bidding order will continue again and again until the actual deck is depleted. You're going to encounter 4 picked encounters. Once the deck is completely done, we're just going to count up all our victory points from the different cards, from the collection bonuses, and any other sources, and whoever gets the most, that's the one who wins.
So, opinions?
Well, in truth, I'll just jump right into it. I found it's a very mixed bag. Because from what I understand, it's a remake of a previous game, or also released by Stefan Feld, just with a new mask essentially put on top of it. I found the artwork really, well, kind of a mix. It's really cool in the sense that the base artwork, very nice. A lot of the card art, very nice. But I don't find them to work together very well. I feel like the artwork for the player boards, the main board, and the card, they're done, it looks like by different artists had a different vision and theme in mind. So it almost looks like when you talk about having a cohesive look, it's a bit, well, it's not. So that's pretty much all I can simply say. Yes. Just not cohesive. They could have done a little bit better, even though the individual pieces work really, really nicely. But then there's the actual gameplay itself. At first, when you introduce, okay, Carl version, beginner version, test it out, see how it goes, we thought, okay, all right, so we get a general idea. Seems pretty straightforward. Bidding order, you buy, that's it. And we thought the Euro version was going to be a much more in-depth and maybe interesting version on how it affects your strategy with the bidding order. Do you want to have maybe a risk for the card that you want for possibly cheaper or a guaranteed set? But I found that it didn't really help with your own personal strategy of trying to get the cards that you want to build upon them. I found that the Euro version, the more and more we played, it tended to be this type of game where we were just picking these cards to eliminate them for others or eliminate them from play. It didn't really seem like we wanted to build upon what was here. It wasn't really the driving factor. Plus, when you mix the cards, it's the same draw pile among the 2 different rows. So it really throws off your ability to get your engine going. When you try to think of your what cards you want to use in combination with others, it was very hard to either get the ones you want or achieve the momentum that you were really trying to build upon. So I felt it took away a lot from that, and it just became a game more of, let's not try to succeed in our own mission, let's just make sure that nobody else succeeds in theirs. So it became a very sabotage-based game as opposed to building your own engine type of game. And so I felt like it kind of took away from its own purpose. That's kind of what I felt. Yeah.
So, my opinion is similar. For first of all, this game has only one major mechanic, which is the bidding. Because once you get your card, you're either going to put some goods on it if you have an artisan, or you're strategizing what card you're going to get. But basically, you're doing this bidding where you place out your meeples. And what happens in this game is a number of things happen that I find contributed to make it a not very interesting game. Number one, you start with 5 coins, but wow, those coins go by. You'll spend them very quickly. Let's say there's one card and you spend 3 coins for it. Well, if you buy anything on a turn, you only get 1 coin for the next turn. So then most players end up with 1 coin, and now you're bidding. There's like, if you're playing a 4-player game, for example, and if you're playing the full Jarl version, there's 10 cards. And when you're done, you might get 1 card. You might not get any cards because someone outbid you, like they put their meeples behind you and it became too expensive for you. And so you go through several hands where you might get 1 card, 2 cards, and almost always not the card you wanted, because the card you wanted other people also want, and so everyone outbids everyone else, and then maybe someone will get it. Great, once in a while you get a card you want. But then the other problem is, for example, in order to get victory points, the artisans are very important. The artisan cards, you have to get certain goods in order to satisfy that card, and then there's like 8 victory points, 10 victory points, 12 victory points. These are very valuable cards. However, you don't know when they're going to come out. You don't know if you're going to get them, and then once you get them, you don't know when the ship will come out and what goods it will have, because all of that is random. When the ships come out is random. Whether they show up here, where someone can just be like, oh, a ship, and they put their meeple on it, now you're guaranteed you can't get it, right? You're guaranteed you can't get it. And then a few times maybe the ships will show up that have a couple of the goods you want. And then maybe we can't get them. Or maybe the ships will come first and then you don't know if you should bid for them because you don't have any artisans. Or you may have some artisans, but ships come up and the goods go on them that you don't need. So it's really, it's so random that there's no way to plan any kind of strategy in the game. There's certainly no engine building in the game because everything is so random. And in the end, you feel like, oh, I'm trying to bid for these things, but most of the time, because you can't get what you want, you end up just messing up other players because that's all you're left, right? That's all you're left with. So I found that each time we played the game, I liked it less, and now it's to the point where I don't think I would ever want to play this game again. I know that sounds kind of harsh, and maybe there are people who really like this mechanic, and I think if you really like this mechanic, this might be a game worth trying. But if you don't really like the auction mechanic, I'm pretty sure this game will rub you the wrong way.
And I think, too, not only is it, like with the auction base and the random nature of it, is that it's very expensive to do very little. Because we started out with 5 coins. It's very hard to have that many throughout the entire game. A lot of times you're working with maybe 1 or 2 because that's your income base. And then the cost to acquire goods is very expensive. To convert is very expensive. You can't really store. So there's a lot of waste in this game. Wasted action, wasted resources, wasted opportunity to really let the game and the theme of the game really come to life. So I feel like it's kind of a disappointment in that sense, is that it never really came to be in the way that you envision it was going to. So I would have to agree with Adam. I just wouldn't recommend this one. So yeah,
and I feel pretty much the same way. I think it has potential, but I feel like it didn't realize its potential.
Yeah.
So that's our review.
That's pretty much it.
Thank you very much for watching.
But we're gonna see you next time. Bye.
See you later.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff, in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.